Hi, everybody. So, welcome to today's session, Life and Leadership. So, there are huge changes happening in the business, which I'm really, really excited about. So, as I am also up-leveling my consciousness, it means that my level of peak performance goes up. It means that our contribution to the world goes up and our vision gets bigger, right? As you build more belief in yourself. I know there are self-doubts along the way. That is part of the process, okay, of you eliminating those doubts and sitting with the emotions that come up, the fear, the anxiety, maybe even anger for past decisions. And it's about doing it from a place of self-love. But those come up because that's a reflex mental habit of how you used to view previous decisions. But as we all constantly up level on this journey, you will find that there are bigger dreams, right? You start to think of, hold on, well, I'm earning 6 figures now. Why can I not earn 7 figures, right? And as you start to actually not just entertain it as an idea, but actually make a plan as I'm doing this, right? What do I need to do for this? And there is obviously so many different strategies, but you start to really think about what is my strategy going to be? And then the belief that goes along with that. And of course, there's peak performance that comes with that level. And you are in a state of transition, right? For example, you might be like me, working full time. And you are then building something new in your business, or building a business, and you're taking things to the next level. So there's going to be a period of transition where you're not there yet. You're still doing this thing, and you have this element of consciousness as well as this element of consciousness. So it's like an XY vibration. Okay, my mentor Bob Proctor, he used to refer to this as the terror barrier. So I think terror is a bit of a strong strong word, but the principle is that the version of you that has that, or of where you used to be, let's just say that's X. Okay, so you had X type thinking, you were making X type, having X type feelings, so much lower vibrational emotions. Of course, you're probably happy some of the time, but the majority vibration, the majority emotion, so most of the time, lower in comparison. And then, of course, also making X type actions, which is why the result is, if we're talking in terms of money, 6-figure income, which is obviously still phenomenal, wealth. So it's not discounting that. But in terms of, say, the reach with your mission, how many people you've reached, or the depth of connection in the relationship with your partner, right? You come out of, how much we want to, blaming the other person, and starting to realize with our consciousness, hold on, we're all a reflection of each other. So what's my part to play in this? And it's not about blame and guilt, because that's low vibrational thinking and low vibrational emotions. So actually, what's another way of looking at this? That we're both evolving, right? And we are also in XY vibration as we are up leveling the relationship and our connection, right? So there is peak performance in your marriage and your relationship and your parenting, okay? And there is a period of time when you're in this sort of limbo, and I want you to embrace the limbo, okay? Because that is the growth, that's the growing pains. You may be getting used to waking up at 4 a.m. Maybe you used to do that before, and now you're going to be waking up at 3 a.m., right? And it's not always about just waking up earlier and earlier, but you start to really see, hold on, actually, I'm quite happy going to bed with the kids at 8 a.m. and waking up at 3 a.m. still having my 7 hours sleep, 7-8 hours sleep, and getting good rest, and actually just getting the day going, and I really want to embrace this and all the work I can get done. And actually, if I'm going to be working this amount anyway, then I just embrace waking up really early, and just, there's always going to be more work to do because I'm constantly up leveling. So let's just make these hours set to, let's say 3 till 7 or 4 till 7 or till 6 or whatever it is. But those early morning hours, before everyone's woken up, most people have woken up, that you've exercised, you've meditated, you've worked on whatever your life mission is. that why type, because that's what you're cultivating, that why type thinking, that why type feelings, that why type consciousness. You've taken time through the actual meditation. So you've focused on those thoughts, right? You're focused on those feelings, maybe through meditation. And then the actual work, the implementation of that, like, all right, so let's work for 2 hours or an hour or whatever on this specific, on the actions, right? The why type actions. And that depends on what your goal is, right? So if it's much more in terms of health, then it may be that you're waking up early to prep and to exercise and to do yoga, meditation, and maybe more on that. Maybe your health is thankfully okay, and you're more about maintenance, and you're sort of like, yeah, well, that's fine, half an hour exercise is fine for me, but I'm still dedicated to doing that. I still do that first. It finally gives me energy. And then I'm dedicated, I do my recording for my YouTube, around 5 a.m, right? And I find it's the best time. Everyone's still asleep most of the time. Sometimes my 4-year-old wakes up, but most people are still asleep, and I can really just get focused on what my message is. And I'm also focusing, I'm not just talking to you when I do the videos or even in this coaching, I'm talking to myself, reminding myself. So I'll be learning something from, maybe I would have done some reading from the Bhagavad Gita, or I would have done some reading from Bob Proctor, or Russell, if it's something more business related, Russell Brunson or Alex Hormozy, whatever it is that I'm learning at that point in time. And then, implementing that and teaching that, right? Based upon obviously what I'm actually doing, not just reading. But I'll also give a little bit of a documentary, and I find it's great for my accountability, right? To sort of say, well, this is, what I'm working on right now, and I'm going to be spending the next couple of hours working on this and telling people that I've got a membership coming out, etc. So it keeps me accountable. Other people like to see, because I certainly like to see other peak performers as they're building something out, the thoughts behind it, the mindset, the action piece, all of these different elements, really helps to see what does that look like, on a daily basis. So, gosh, I'm so sorry. So that really helps, sorry, let me just turn this off. It's just my alarm to actually do this training, but I don't know why I set so many. Okay, sorry about that. So I want you to start up leveling now, okay? Because depending on where you've been starting in this program, some of you may have just started. Great, start up leveling. Some of you may have been in this program for a couple of weeks, a couple of months. Whatever it is, it's time to take things to the next level, because it's not about staying in status quo. What I want you to see, to talk about the comfort zone, I want you to start to see the change, the discomfort zone, the zone of growth. I want you to start to see that as my comfort zone. Like, I'm comfortable being uncomfortable, whatever that means. So maybe change the narrative, change the wording, because I'm like, well, no one wants to be uncomfortable. Otherwise, it's almost as if you're always waiting for something, like you're waiting to come out of limbo and you want to be there now. So I don't think that's the right thinking. I think it's better to sort of be like, well, this is a little bit of acceptance, right? Like, this, it is what it is. This is what we're here to do, to learn, to grow. And life is infinitely better when you fully accept that and you're all in, embracing the change, right? Okay, let's do this. It's like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or whatever the plan is that you've chosen intuitively. For me, this was a download, literally, meditating. I really think of my life purpose, why am I here, and what's the best way to do this in a healthy way, in a wealthy way. And my life purpose, I love empowerment, I love healing. I'm a doctor. We don't have to be a doctor to help people. And, general practice is completely changing now. Who knows if it will even be here in like 3-4 years' time. And also with AI, surely they may well be able to diagnose, maybe even more accurately, who knows? And our diagnosis will be more intuitive, right? Like afterwards, to analyze the AI data, maybe, I don't know. So I was actually really looking at, well, what's other ways to serve and help? So what is it that I love? I really enjoy empowerment, emotional healing, really helping people to self-lead and really release their limitless potential and just go all out. And basically you kind of just keep going until your physical vessel is, ready for the next stage of evolution, which is not in this human birth, right? That's evolution too. So you just keep going and you embrace the journey. And as you do that, you have loved ones around you, you know, and you're cultivating that relationship and teaching them and learning from them. And it's this beautiful dance, this beautiful exchange. So actually, that's what I would invite you to do, is to embrace the change, see this as this is comfort, this is the norm, and gratitude that, wow, we can up level, that we have a choice in how we want to up level. So, you know, it's literally like praying to God for like $1 billion idea. And it wasn't necessarily about the money, it was about the impact. And of course, having financial freedom and physical freedom as well, not having to be like, well, it has to be as a GP and it has to be in this way, because then I'm tied to a system and even to a country that I can work in. And, you know, if I want to go and work in another country, I have to do more exams. So I want physical freedom and also emotional freedom, you know, as well, you know, peace of mind, which I have, but more of that. You know, what does that look like? I don't know, right? Like, what's the next level of peace of mind? You know, enlightenment, what does that mean? What does that look like? So these sort of, they're not end points, because, you know, limitless potential, infinite growth, but for as far as my consciousness can see, these sort of endpoints of, in terms of my health, full of energy, full of vitality, you know, the physical vessel, the organ, you know, point of view, you know, being healthy and just fully functioning at its best, like an athlete, like a warrior, right? And then my consciousness, you know, really continuing in my spiritual growth journey, raising my consciousness. And then in the 3D world, through my business, that's a vehicle I've chosen. I know I'm, you know, currently working full time as a doctor, but I can see more and more that it's really through business, right? Because that is limitless income, limitless impact, limitless reach to really get this out, you know, healing out there into the world, leadership out there into the world, helping other people to set up their own businesses as well, so that they can also be free. And I think it's incredible. I can't not share this information. So I feel like this is it. I've chosen that, and I'm really interested to see how I can utilize my skills as a doctor, you know, as we continue to go forward. So I, you know, was asking for these downloads and meditated on it, and and I received the answer, the download. Okay, this is the beauty when you're meditating and you're really in tune with yourself. I've really had to work on my intuition just through meditation, right? Crown chakra meditations, and that's made like a huge difference. So that's what I'd invite you to do. So think about your next level of impact, okay? And let me know in the comments. Feel free to reach out to me for one-to-one, okay? And that's what I really want you to do. And think about what is the actions and peak performance from that point of view that you need to do, the big plan, and then on a daily basis. All right. So do you